honestly, this podcast isn't about motivation. It's not about making you feel better. It's not about giving you some false sense of hope. This podcast is about showing you that you can change your mind. You can make the choices to let your mind be changed, and you don't have to suck. That's really what this podcast is all about. It's all about making sure that you know that there's an option, that no matter how desperate or depressed or isolated or alone you feel, there's an option. There's always somebody. There's always somebody that'll care for you and reach out, or that you can reach out to for help. You and I just have to reach out for help. That's the key to the whole thing is the reaching out, is the getting help. So I went to a vigil for George Floyd. It's 10/10, episode 10. George Floyd was the man that was killed in Minneapolis. We had a vigil here in Baker City, Oregon. It's, probably 2,000 miles away. I think it's important, though, that we raise awareness and keep people aware of our constitutional rights. The Constitution says all men are created equal and endowed by their Creator to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. I don't know if this is going to come out because this river is really loud. And it seems that we've forgotten what the Constitution says. And it seems that we've forgotten what it is that we're called to by God. Whether you believe in God or not, God created you. And He called you to be a decent human being. He called you to step in when someone's being oppressed. He called you to be a part of people's lives in a positive and caring way. He called you to get involved. And for a long time, I thought that the best way to fix this situation was by voting, was by, getting the people who support corruption and don't hold their people accountable, getting them out of office by voting them out of office. A friend of mine told me recently, though, that voting is great, but it's only one tool that we have. It's only one tool that we can use to dissuade tyranny in our country. And I'll tell you what, there's tyranny going on in our country. And yeah, it happened in Minneapolis with George Floyd, and it happens all the time. And it happens in a way that, just isn't right or isn't fair. This COVID nonsense, coupled with this murder of an innocent man, seemingly innocent man. Obviously, I wasn't there, so I don't know every fact and detail of the situation. Anyway, there's more we can do as a nation. Filming stuff on your phone is great. You see an incident happen, you use that as evidence, that's great. But there's peaceful protests that need to happen too. We have a First Amendment right to leave our houses without masks on. Now, I get it. If you want to wear a mask, you go ahead and wear a mask. I'm not going to condemn you for it. That's your own personal choice. Just like it's my own personal choice to not wear a mask. And I'll appreciate if you don't condemn me for that, because I have the right to choose whether or not I wear a mask. Just like I have the right to carry a gun if I want to. You have the right to carry a gun if you want to. My point in this is we all have different choices, different convictions, and different reasons to do the things that we do. So getting pissed off at each other and causing more division is exactly what the tyrants want. Because if we're divided, they can easily overcome and overtake us. Part of the hashtag you don't have to suck thought process is realizing that you are a person with rights. Let me say that again. Part of the hashtag you don't have to suck thought process is you realizing that you are a person with rights. You have the right in this country to speak up if you see something you don't like. You have that right. That's guaranteed to you by the Constitution. And the Constitution didn't give you that right. The government didn't give you that right. Your Creator gave you that right. Your Creator, God, gave you the right to speak up when there's an injustice, to do something. Not to loot, not to burn down private property, not to spray paint BLM all over the place. You have the right to speak. You have the right to say, hey, that's not cool. and then get people together who also think that's not cool and do something about it. See, the Constitution didn't give you those rights. It just laid them out, just made a list of the rights. And there's more rights than that. God gave you the rights. The Constitution protects your rights from the government. The government that would otherwise destroy your rights, because they don't give a rip about any of us. And that's obvious. It's obvious in legislation. It's obvious in how they enforce the laws. It's obvious in how they hold us in contempt, us flyover states. And I know I'm not technically in a flyover state, but I'm in that flyover part of the country. I live in rural Oregon, eastern Oregon. I'm an hour from the Idaho border. You know, Salem might dictate our laws, but they're not here. Thank God. God forbid they ever come and try to dictate our laws or dictate the enforcement of those laws. Anyway, I may have said too much. Basically, my point is this. Realizing that you have a choice and that you're free to make whatever choice you want, because part of that is not sucking. It's all these rioters and stuff, all these rioters in the major cities. Man, I'm not gonna lie, I came to this vigil tonight. I told my wife and kids they had to stay home, so I didn't know what was gonna happen. Thankfully to God, it was peaceful and nothing happened. We just honored a guy. We honored a man that died before it was seemingly his time to die, but you know, God's in control of all things. And this guy, he believed in Jesus. So imagine how much better off he is now. I mean, if he loved God the way that everybody says that he loved God, he's good. He's happy. He's with the Savior. We should all be so fortunate. And we will be one day, as long as you believe in Jesus. As long as you put your faith and your heart in him. So anyway, back to the truck. It's a beautiful evening out right now. I'll tell you what. I don't want to rant too much, but I'm gonna. Somebody from the paper interviewed me. So if they take anything out of context of what I've said, just know that I'm not as crazy as they made me sound. Maybe I am, but they made me sound really bad. If it sounds bad. If it doesn't sound bad, then I'm good. But anyway, we got to figure out ways not to suck, people. We got to use our brains. We got to think critically about things. We have to have a high level of emotional intelligence, because if we don't, we're going to get wrapped up in the violence and trying to kill people and abuse people. And there's my friend Dan. Hey, Dan. Good, how are you? I see. Enjoy it. That's awesome. Have a good night. Good to see you, man. That was my friend Dan. Dan's a good dude. Dan loves Jesus. So, anyway. It's beautiful. Isn't it beautiful? I live in one of the most beautiful places on earth. It is. There's mountains all around us. There's a river running straight through town. I mean, it doesn't get much better than this. Listen, my phone's about to die. So here it is in summation. 15 seconds to summarize. Now 10. Critical thinking, emotional intelligence, using your brain. These are the things that cause you not to suck. Love God, love people,